Hey there, welcome to Springbird. I'm Anna Lentz. Today I want to share with you a project of making plaster cloth animal sculptures or masks. I have a couple examples here. One is this handsome fox, and that's a freestanding sculpture. Or I also have this owl. Or you can make a mask for your wall like this bunny. Today I want to make another mask, this one of a dog, because we are thinking about getting a dog here at Springbird someday, and I thought maybe if I make this mask it'll help manifest that dog here. So first I'll tell you a little bit of what we need to get started. You need plaster cloth. Now you could do this with paper mache, but I like plaster cloth because it has a little bit more heft and strength to it. Plaster cloth is basically like a gauze fabric that has a coating of plaster on it that is activated when you get it wet. You need tape, like masking tape or painter's tape. Scissors, a good strong scissors, a bowl of warm water, which you can't see, and an assortment of recyclables. Like plastic bags are fantastic, bottles or like yogurt containers, any kind of thing that will give you shape of the animal that you're trying to create. Also, a kind of the cardboard that is like cereal box weight that has a little bend, that will help like with details like ears. Caps might make a good nose. Most of the armature that you're building, the structure for the sculpture, you'll remove after the plaster dries. So just keep that in mind, it won't be there forever. Okay, so I'm going to begin by building my structure. I'm going to start with some plastic bags. I'm going to stuff them together into making a head shape. I'm thinking about this as a snout. So I'm trying to get sort of the roughly, we'll use Mr. Fox as an example since they're related, the head and then the head and then the snout of the dog, and looks roughly what I want. We can play around with it with the plaster. You can use your tape to kind of just hold things in place. Okay. Ta-da. Kind of a long snout. Actually, I might move up. Since the back of this part will all be open, the back of the head, I'm going to kind of bring this part up. Okay, so now we move on to the plaster cloth, which you will want to be cut into strips about yay long. So this is 4-inch plaster cloth, and you want to cut it into whatever this is, 8-10 inches of strips. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to, I'm going to dip the plaster cloth into the water and pull it out and kind of remove any excess water like this, and try not to get it to fold in on itself. And then I'm going to lay it over my armature and just kind of lightly press it down. I'm gonna grab another one, dip it, remove the excess, and I'm gonna lay it over like that. So the two pieces are overlapping about a 1/2 inch. Again, I'm kind of just pressing it down. I'm going to keep going down to the front, to the snout. Removing excess water. Now this next piece, I'm going to lay, I'm laying as a perpendicular to the other ones. And the reason for that is it'll start to pull back that shape. It like acts as a stopper. Okay, I'm going to keep going like this until the whole piece is covered except for the back, because the back we want to use for hanging on the wall. Okay, so that covered about the whole thing. Again, the back is open. You can see that plastic there. I'm going to do the same thing, do another second and probably a third layer to get it nice and thick and substantial. And the back hole will also be where you pull out the armature when you're done. With layer 2, I'm going to lay it in reverse to the first layer. So we're going like vertical over horizontal to kind of strengthen the structure again. So as you're doing this, you'll notice there might be some wrinkles when you're putting the plaster cloth down, and you can try to smooth those out. Also, you'll notice the plaster sort of filling in the cracks, like the pores of the gauze. So you just kind of want to encourage that to happen. Okay, so you could continue with a third or even a fourth layer, but for the interest of time, we'll let that go. So here's my head. The back is open. I want to help make a indentation where the eyes are. So I'm just sort of pressing with my fingers to pinch that spot. And I'm just going to hold it. This dries pretty quickly. And you can kind of just hold it like this and for as long as it takes to kind of encourage that placement to happen. The plastic bags are kind of loosey-goosey underneath, so I'm just using my hands to gently shape how I want. Look at the tip of that bottle even makes a nose, but it could do it a little more. This is almost like a cartoon dog. Okay, at this point, you have to let the sculpture or mask dry. You can do this two ways, by just allowing it to dry in the air overnight, put it in a warm, dry spot, or you can do it at a very low temp. Follow the directions on the package in your oven. It'll like speed up the process of drying. Or third, you can use a hairdryer. Okay, see you back in a minute. Okay, welcome back. So the sculpture has dried. It's hard, but it still is a slightly damp, but I think that's okay to keep going. So I'm going to start by removing the structural support from inside. What's nice about the plastic bags is it can collapse. There you go. Could have put a little bit more gauze on the front there. It's easy to pull out since it's flexible. So now we're going to add gesso to prepare the surface for painting and for our embellishments. I've got a big tub of gesso, which you can get at any art supply store. It's like primer for acrylic paint. A decent sized brush, and I'm just going to cover the whole surface with gesso. And I'm working the gesso into all of the, they're not holes, but sort of, we call it like pores of the plaster cloth. This is just going to add, again, another layer of strength to the sculpture. So I'm like painting it on, but I'm using the tip of the brush, like just kind of scrub in this gesso to really get it in there. All right, so I'm just kind of looking for any areas that might need another go, filling up these pores. I've got my hand inside because that's helping to allow me to paint on all sides of the sculpture at once. And I think I'm just gonna go stick this on a tree branch and let it dry in the sun. So after it dries, we'll finish embellishing our pup, and then we can start painting. See you in a bit. Okay, so once your sculpture has been gessoed and the gesso is completely dry, you can use a hair dryer to really make sure it's dry. Then you can add any little embellishments like ears, or maybe you want like a certain nose or whiskers or hair, anything that is extra. I'm gonna add ears to the puppy, and you guys see this guy? Maybe like that. This is just cardstock, and I'm making a fold, a flap, and I'm going to just attach it with painter's tape. I'm going to attach it in two places. One under the flap, just taping it on. Using a generous amount of tape, and even like wrapping it back into the hole. But I'm also going to tape it from above up here. You can kind of curl your paper too if you want to add some more shape. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the gesso and gesso the ears and gesso over the tape. And then after that we can start painting. So we got the ears on. They've been gessoed, the gesso's dry. Now it's time to add paint. What I like to do is add a base layer. So like for Fox, it was orange and white. Paint the entire thing that way. And then when that dries, go back and add the details. And I like to paint my creatures in these sort of fantastical geometric pattern kind of way. But you could paint yours realistic. You could paint it any way that you feel comfortable or called to do. So I've got acrylic paint. Any brand will be fine, but you could, acrylic paint, or you could probably use latex house paint works well. And since it's like plasticky, it's going to add more strength to your sculpture again. Another layer. It'll dry nice and hard. Like the gesso, I've got like a pretty big brush to get this base layer on. You probably can't see. This is a dark blue, it looks kind of black in the video. So I am brushing it on, but then kind of scrubbing it into all the little nooks and crannies and any pock marks that are not filled. And I'm going to go around the whole thing. Again, I'm using my hand inside so that I can paint on all the surfaces. 360. Okay. Like that. All right, I'm going to keep painting and I'll see you in a minute for the next step. Okay, so now is the really fun part because you can just go wild and decorate your animal any way that you like. I am going to try to make this look like a puppy as much as possible, using acrylic paint again. It's usually helpful to stick to a palette like of 3-5 colors. Let's see if you can see. I'm gonna try to do that the thing that sometimes puppies have that, or dogs have marks that are like a white, this is a light blue, down the middle and then around the snout. Again, having your hand up inside can help. I'm leaving the nose dark, although I kind of painted too close to the edge there. You can mix your colors in a palette, or sometimes you can mix right onto the sculpture itself. Again, working the paint into any nooks and crannies and crevices, any wrinkles. Trying to get a nice smooth look. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, so far I got that. I'm going to make some circles where the eyes are. I'm not going to worry too much about painting under the ears. That helps. And what else do I want to do with this? Well, it looks like I've got some touch-up work on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to keep painting and finer details and check back in. Okay, so I finished all my detail painting. You can see the pooch. It's still wet, so that's why I'm holding it this way. After it dries, again, you could use the hairdryer to speed things up. I will put on a coat of gloss medium and varnish. I like the Liquitex brand, and it will give everything a really nice sheen. And you can get matte if you prefer a matte version of that, but it also will protect it again, keep the paint safe, protect it from chipping, and extend the durability, the lifetime of your sculpture. With the masks, this one I just hung on the wall as it is. I didn't string any wire, but you could poke some holes into the sides and string some wire to help secure it to your wall. And I think that's about it. If you would like to join me here at Springbird in June 25th and 29th, please visit springbird.land for more information so you can register. We're going to have a great day in the woods making art in community, and I would love to have you here. See you again soon. Bye.